One of the most ascertainable questions that you can be asked in an interview is, can we meet you? Every interviewer asks it. It might be in different forms. It might come in, tell us a bit about yourself, tell us something exciting about you, tell us something about you that is not on your CV. But everybody asks that introductory question, can we meet you? Guess what? Despite the fact that it's certain that interviewers will ask that question, a lot of candidates still flunk. It might be because of fear, because of trepidity, because they were worried, because of different other factors, or because there's just a lot of information in their head and they do not know how to arrange this. This is why I'm doing this video on how to answer, can we meet you in an interview? My name is Emmanuel Faith. I am super delighted to have you here. If you're a new visitor, please click the subscribe button. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you very much for supporting this ministry. We are together, and when we blow, I shall remember you in my kingdom. Today, I'm talking about a topic that interests everybody from a beginner to a 10-year experienced professional. Because at every interviewer asks, can we meet you? So how then do you answer? First, tell them who you are, what you've done, and what you're looking forward to doing. So the way I structure it in my head is, and again, this is not a universal rule. This is just what has worked for me. I've seen people come to say, I have knowledge, skills, ability. There are different formulas, KSA, have impact, job, something. But how it has worked for me so far is I tell them who I am, what I have done, and what I'm looking forward to do it. And I do this in a very chronological way. So I do not jump around, right? I also do not tell them that I'm from Ayedade local government. People have said I stopped using Ayedade. So I don't tell them that I'm from Oluyole local government or Umbaise local government. No, who am I? I am a globally certified human resource professional with almost a decade experience that cuts across finance, fintech, renewable energy, and digital media. What have I done? I have led the people and culture of one of the fastest growing fintechs in Africa and managed the talent team of one of the largest media organization in sub-Saharan Africa. What am I looking forward to doing? I am looking forward to a role that enables me to marry my cross-sectoral experience with making impact or having hands-on impact. That's one way, right? Another way is literally to tell your chronological story and tell how you got here, right? So you're applying for a role in finance. So you want to tell them you have a bachelor's in economics. This is why you studied economics. You're very fascinated about the international development and how money moves around the world. And now these are the things you've done. You work with Vertiva, United Capital, and all those investment banks. And now you are looking to work with Bank of America because you want to move from local to global. You want the interviewers to be able to connect with your story from the beginning. You want to be sure that they are not scattered here and there. What's another thing you should do? Another thing you should do is to highlight what the job description says. So for instance, remember my first illustration where I said I've led people and culture, I've headed the talent management. If I'm applying to a certain role that requires certain function, I would then go ahead to say something major that I did in my people and culture role. For example, if I'm applying for an HR business partner role, and one of the things they have said in their job description is that must be able to coordinate learning and development. When I'm talking about my time at Carrywise, I probably say one of my major highlights of my work at Carrywise was that I coordinated a 6 weeks LinkedIn learning sprint, recording a success rate of a sign-up rate of 100% and a success rate of 89%. Not only was it an impactful program, I also got a direct recommendation from the head of learning, development and partnerships for LinkedIn West Africa, Nixon Sawi. That means that because I remember that one of the things they've highlighted in the JD was L&D, I am selling my L&D skills, right? Does that mean your stuff should be long, 3 minutes or 4 minutes? No. You can just pick that one thing that you remember in the JD and infuse it into your introduction. Another thing you should do if you have the opportunity to is to use industry terms, right? So remember, when you are using that illustration, don't talk like a layman. For example, instead of saying you helped the company keep 90 out of 100 of their employees. So I'm using HR illustration again. You can say that you achieved a retention rate of 90%. You are a marketer, you can say, oh, you worked with this company and in your first 90 days, you are able to reduce churn rates from 45% to 15%. It's a marketing interview. Even if HR does not understand what churn rate is, there is a marketer, there should be a marketer on the panel that understands what churn rate is. And what that means is that from your introduction, you're already selling your ability and your technical prowess, to the interviewers. One last thing is, oh my God, yes, people do this a lot. You cannot be talking about your weakness in can we meet you? Like, they just want to, they have not even met you, already saying, I don't like working under pressure. I don't like working with teams. And you might think it's a joke, but I've seen people do it in my short career. People literally, in their can we meet you, people start selling themselves short. Another very interesting thing that people do is, again, I'm very passionate about grades because I finished with 2-2, right? Is that people sell themselves short, right? Again, people sell themselves short by mentioning their grades. Like, I've not even asked. They're already telling me that you finished with 2-2 or third class in your interview. Don't tell me. You don't have to tell me. One thing you should remember, and I think I said it in my last video about questions you should ask at the end of an interview, is that when you are at that interview seat, your grades does not matter. Your short or long years of experience does not matter. What matters is that the recruiter or the hiring manager have found you worthy of that role. And majorly what you are doing is to show them that you are the best person for that role. Do you understand? So you want to ensure that in your can we meet you, you are not selling yourself short. Finally, and very importantly, if there's a word like that, because Nigeria is a very reserved and conservative country, and this also shout out to you people, hiring managers, that witches and wizards. It's okay to end on a lighter note. This is what I mean. Always end with something like, I like playing chess. I love seeing movies. And my favorite movie is Game of Thrones. Every can we meet you that I do, I always end with the fact that I love women football and I watch a lot of K-drama. And it's always a conversation starter. Oh, why women football? Why not men football? Why are you so passionate about women football? Yada, yada, yada. Before I became disvested, because before I was just an observer. Now I'm like someone said, I'm a participant. Before then, I used to say, I'm very passionate about SDG4. I read 303 books in 3 years, between 2020 and 2020. And I run a community of book lovers where we read 1 book per week. And it is always a conversation starter. You should remember that your interviewers are people too. So they're actually looking for a way to connect with you. Now, does that mean that every time you end with something like they will start a conversation from that? No. They are witches and wizards, like I said. But does that give you a softer landing way to ease the tension in the role? And I'll give you one illustration. I remember this was pre-COVID. I knew I was going to leave GE because I was really struggling to get the full-time role because I was on contract. And in fact, I think my HR business partner had said, oh, have you started interviewing and stuff? Because they'd just done everything internally possible to ensure that I get a role, and things were not looking good because of COVID and financial restrictions. So I went to interview with this very interesting company. So it was a physical interview. And I think we'd done the virtual one via phone call. So I think this was the final stage. They wanted me to come in, and I came in. And I don't know if it was that the former person they interviewed annoyed them, or if they were just having a bad day. I honestly do not know. But as I entered the interview room, all of them just looked at me like they wanted to eat me up. I don't know if you guys have been in those kind of panels before. And I just said, hi, welcome. Should we call you Emmanuel or Faith? And I said, Faith, you have a good CV. Thank you. Tell me about yourself. No, tell us something interesting about you. And I just said, my favorite food is rice and beans, and I can cook it even in the dreamland. And everybody laughed. And after they laughed, and then I said, yes, obviously, that's great, but can you tell us something professional? And then I went. I could have easily, immediately they said, oh, can we meet you? I could just say, oh, my name is Emmanuel Faith, I'm this, I'm that, and right. So it's very important that you know that the people you are talking to are people too. So they might be having I like to say this every time I teach a class on isn't an interview. They might be having a bad day, their boyfriend might have broken their heart, they might have fought with their husband before they came to work. Someone's senior manager might have just finished talking down on her or him before they came into that interview room. So you want to ensure that there is an iota of humor, because humor sells a lot. And even, I want you to know that even if they do not respond to that humor, they moved on. Trust me, it's registered in their head. I was telling, and I will wrap up with this. I went to teach at Edubridge Academy, free ad for Edubridge Academy. You should check them out. And I was telling them about how there was one of my female acquaintances who went to interview, final stage of interview, and she's a finance lawyer, right? So she's written a lot of articles, and I'll probably do a video on that some other time. She's written a lot of articles on finance and sport and finance, tax law. For those that watch football, there's time that Messi was imprisoned for tax, so she has an article on that. The time that Ronaldo wanted to be imprisoned for tax, but she ended up going on bail. She had an article on that. So in the interview, she had done, my name is Shola Chobowale. Okay, don't let me know that. My name is Shola Ali, right? I'm a jurisprudence lawyer, something. Through all the legal jargons, I've done this and this. I want to work here because of this and this. I love football a lot, and at leisure, when I'm not watching football, I'm writing articles about football. For the first 15 minutes, she was interviewing with senior partners. These are people that have 10 years, 15 years experience, in their 3-pack suit and very frowning face. The mood changed immediately, and for the next 10 minutes, they were talking football, right? So the bottom line is that people are people. People have bad days, so you want to add some humor to your introduction. And sometimes it's not even humor. It's, you are a chess Olympiad. Is you like solving puzzles. I recently discovered that there's one of my love friends who is a badass mathematician, and I'm still struggling to to correlate that. Whatever it is, just ensure that you end on a lighter note. I hope that the next time that you are having to do Can We Meet You, you find these tales very helpful. Again, remember, tell a chronological story. Tell them who you are, what you have done, what you are looking forward to doing, and why that company is the best fit for what you are looking forward to do. Number 2, highlight a part of your JD in your introduction. So when you are talking about the things you've done, remember something that they said in the JD, and put it. Number 3, use your industry language, use your industry lingo, use your industry expertise. Don't talk like a layman. Number 4, end on a lighter note. Always end with hobbies or skills. You love traveling, you love reading. Don't say something that you cannot defend. I think God beg you. But things, you love reading, you love traveling, you love watching football, you love K-drama, you love Game of Thrones, you play chess, you love board games, Monopoly. I know someone that got a job. They got to the last stage of a job just because she lost Monopoly, right? Because it was an asset management something, right? So yeah, that's enough. I hope that you find this very helpful for your next interview, and I hope that you share this with everyone looking for a job around you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. To the next video, it's your favorite teacher buddy, Emmanuel Faith.